Welcome to The Ryman Show, the voice of the veteran. I'm your host, Ryman Show. Download us on iTunes and Google Play, and while you're there, be sure to rate us or visit us on our website, therymanshow.com. John, I appreciate you being on The Ryman Show today. I'm glad that you're here, and for our listeners today, we are very honored to have somebody who has been there, done that, and he's worn the T-shirt, and he's actually probably sick of wearing that T-shirt, but he is, no kidding, been in Iraq, been in Afghanistan, been on the ground, kicking ass, taking names, and making the area safe, taking care of his buddies, and doing the hard things that most of Americans can't do. And we know that at the Ryman Show, the voice of the veteran, this is truly about the warrior spirit. It's about making things happen and kicking ass and taking names. And so we want to bring John on board here. John, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good. Just got done eating Wendy's, so I'm nice and fat.
Okay, nice and fat. You ran 10 miles a day, is that true?
Yeah, I got my little wheelchair that does all the running for me. Kind of missing the whole aspect of, I don't know, what is it? I think you need something in order to run. Shit, the TBI is causing me to have issues. Oh, it's feet. Yeah, I don't have feet. Hey, thanks for rubbing that in. Haven't had that in a while. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you to dance, but I guess I got ahead of myself there. So, hey, what?
Just because I'm in a wheelchair don't mean I can't dance.
I have no doubt. Hey, when did you come in the Marine Corps? What year was that?
I joined on September 11th of 2005.
Oh, amazing.
I know it's not 2001, but 2005.
Yeah, got you there. Yeah. All right, so you came in and you went to Parris Island, right?
No, sorry. The real Marines, we go out to the West Coast. Us Hollywood Marines, I went out to the West Coast because I enlisted in northern Illinois, like north of the Chicago area.
Okay.
I can't remember the recruiting department, but yeah, I went to West Coast.
Gotcha. So you were out there with like Top Gun, going to the danger zone and all that good stuff.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. All right, so you finished up and your first tour was straight to Iraq, is that right?
Yeah, Al Anbar province, Iraq. That was 2007. Okay. I missed all the fun shit, apparently.
Okay, so that was a garden spot, right? They had a nice Marriott there. You were hanging out, drinking some Mai Tais and such, right?
Yeah, we got massages every day by exotic women. Never could see their face or anything like that. But, yeah, it was great. Fun, not really doing anything.
Right. So when you were done with the Mai Tai and the massage, you went out on to keep the area safe, I guess. But the locals didn't treat you the same way. So tell us a little bit about that story. Tell us about the first time you got attacked.
So I actually had to talk to my case manager the other day because I needed to get the exact date of my first injury. So it was August 26, 2007. And by trade, I'm a 0331, which I know none of you non-Marines and civilians will know about, but I'm sorry, I was a 0341. Wow, TBI. Which is a mortarman by trade. But mortars weren't being used in Iraq because, heart to mind, too much collateral damage, took too long to get approved by, those wonderful officers that like to drink their lattes. So we, for 41s, were just basically turned into machine gunners or basic 11s, or basic infantry.
Okay, so you weren't allowed to shoot mortars at the enemy, and they weren't shooting mortars at you. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, they were definitely shooting mortars at us.
Oh, so apparently they had different leadership than we had on that issue.
Apparently they don't care about collateral damage or hearts or minds or anything like that. I mean, what the hell's wrong with these people, right?
Yeah. Okay, so out.
Yeah, we couldn't even use like illumination rounds at all. Like I think we launched maybe one illumination round. That's it. I forgot the reason for that. Maybe because the shell fell and hit somebody or destroyed a building or something. I don't understand it. I just said yes sir, no sir, roger that, sir.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. All right, so go ahead.
So the us 41s that were in the platoon, we were turned into machine gunners. We learned a little bit about assaultmen. But basically we're just basic infantry, 0311s.
Okay.
So on this day, I got tired of being the second vehicle driver. So I asked if I could be placed on lead vehicle machine gunner. And after some rearranging, they got me to be on the 7-ton machine gunner. We were traveling a little bit out of our AO, our operating area. Operating area. And we came across a single building. We decided to go in there, knock and greet. Nobody was there. So we kind of entered slowly, carefully, found a stash of homemade explosives. And we called those wonderful guys that like to take their time and make us sit out in the heat, EOD. Like a few hours later, it was like midday when I believe that we found that cache of homemade explosives. But by the time EOD came there and we set up security and they blew it up, it was night. Like we had our MVZs on and everything. So to get to this particular spot, it was one road. Like that's it. There was one road in, one road out. So EOD left, and apparently in the time that it took EOD to leave and for us to leave, somebody decided to bury a IED there. So lead vehicle, machine gunner on top of the machine or on top of the 7-ton. We turn a corner and I'm looking around, drivers looking around, DC vehicle commanders looking around. And also next thing we know, I'm being popped up into the air and I don't lose consciousness. I just forget. I just basically forgot everything. I was still conscious. What I've been told is what happened was I hit the sniper hide, which is, you take the HESCO barriers and throw up some foliage. That way figure our silhouette, and then down and hit my head or hit my Kevlar and made my brain rattle inside my head. But I hit something on the 240 and was just immediately TBI. Like I said, I was conscious. I was walking around. What I did is I crawled out of the machine gunner nest through the front, not going through the cab. I hopped the machine gun, just immediately hopped down, started walking around. Eventually, Corpsman came up to us, and all I could sit there, and I'm about ready to show my age, but all I could do is sit there and ask where my Zune was. And just in case for your listeners who don't know what the hell a Zune is, Microsoft basically tried launching their own, what are those? Not iPads, iPods. They were a brick, and it didn't work out. But Doc did some quick, whatever docs do, quick evaluation. Got on the air vac. Doctors at, I think it was Bagram, asked me my name. I didn't know it. They asked me, at first they were like Lance Corporal Peck, and it's like, I don't know who that is. Then they said, all right, John Peck. And I was like, oh, I don't know who you're looking for. And they just started going, John Michael Peck, date of birth, social security number, where you've lived, where you recruited. And I was like, dude, I don't know who the fuck you're looking for. And they're like, dude, that's you. And I was like, my name's John. And that's when the doctors at Bagram decided I need to go to Landstuhl, Germany. I did a MACE test there and did a psych eval, did some MRIs. Come to find out, the psych eval came back saying if I was returned back to duty, I'd be a danger not only to myself, but those around me. I lost 20 years. Let's see, that's 2007. 21 years of my memory. Came back to the United States, didn't even know I was married until I was told by the doctors. I had a small tear in my frontal lobia, my frontal cortex, which controls short-term, long-term memory. I had some hearing issues, of course. Vestibular, fancy word for balance. I still have problems now with it. Girlfriend will turn to me and tell me something. Next day, we'll have a conversation. And no, for your female listeners, this isn't male selective hearing. girlfriend will tell me something. Next day she'll come back and be like, "Baby, do you remember me, telling you about this?" And I was like, "No." I still have a hard time recalling certain words. Like I'll stumble. I'll know the word that I want to say, but I can't sing. So like I'll be doing like motivational speech. I'll be talking in front of people and I'll go to say something. I'm up there like stammering, like, and I every time I get up there before I even start talking, I'm like, look, if I start just going brain dumb, just having brain farts, it's not because I'm mentally retarded. It's because I'm trying to recall the word, and I can physically spell it out, but I can't say it. My brain won't let me say it.
So all these issues happened to you the first time when you were in Iraq, and you were able to overcome all that and go back full-time active duty in the Marine Corps, and then you went to Afghanistan. Did I get that right?
Yeah, it took me 2 years. So that was back in 2007 when I got injured. It took me a full 2 years of physical therapy, mental therapy, psyche valves. I basically, because one of my guys, we were doing this whole book, or we were trying to get a book together, and one of my guys that I went to SOI with, which is the School of Infantry for the non-Marines,
right.
basically, I met him right after boot camp, and we went to the same unit. He's like, before John received his injury, he was very outgoing. He was always like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? You guys want to go hang out? You want to go to the bar? You want to go do this?"
Yeah.
But after injury, he's like, John was just shut in. Like, he didn't want to be around anybody. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He just sat in his room. And half the time I was sitting in my room trying to learn who I was. Half the time I was trying to learn what my job as a Marine was. I didn't want to get kicked out. I didn't want to get booted out, because that was exactly what the doctors told me was going to happen. They were like, yeah, the basic, like how to survive, how to be a human being, but you don't know how to be a Marine. We can't send you back to an infantry unit.
So how did you convince the doctors to let you go back then? How did you overcome that?
I had PMEs, like how to be a Marine, how to be a freaking 0341, and then how to be a forward observer for the mortars. And I just sat there and I learned and I learned and I learned. I didn't get back up to where I used to be before Iraq.
Yeah.
And my at the time, my senior FO definitely saw that. I never got back to the point where I used to be, but I did try to improve on other aspects. So after talking to doctors and after proving to them, of course they're Navy doctors, so they don't know what it takes to be like an 0341, but they kind of has a little bit of experience with that stuff. But I showed them, I had to get recommendations from, of course, from first sergeants, from colonels, all that stuff, and saying, he's okay. And they allowed me to re-enlist. So after 2 years of physical therapy, like, I was allowed to re-enlist in 2009.
So you actually got out of the Marine Corps while you were healing? Is that right? And then they brought you back in?
No, I was limited duty.
Limited duty, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So when they said that the first evaluation that you went through, and they told you, "Hey, you can't go back in because you'd be dangerous to yourself or to other people," what do you think they meant by that? How were you going to be dangerous to yourself?
Well, I think what they meant was danger to myself was because I didn't even know I was a Marine. Like, when I actually started regaining, when I physically, not what people have told me, but when I physically started regaining memories, like actually start remembering stuff, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my name, my social, none of that shit. I had to have my doctors give me my chart and like let me sit there and study it, basically.
Okay.
I had to relearn who I was. And that's what I think that when the doctor said that, I think that's what they meant was if we sent him back out to a war zone, and if he doesn't even know what his name is, how is he supposed to immediately pick up an M16 and start shooting it and putting rounds down range if he doesn't even know his fucking name? Sorry.
Right. So you just decided you didn't know that you were a Marine. But then you decided the warrior, I guess, was coming out of you, right? And you said, "Hey, I got to jump back in the fight." Is that kind of the thought process you had?
Well, I regained a little bit of like bits and pieces of here and there and like this, um, of course, at the time, like I said, at the time I was married and, wife and, my mom would kind of like, hey, do you remember this? And I'd be like, no, I don't remember this. Like, oh, hey, remember when you were younger? It's like, no, I don't remember this. But I would remember like more recent stuff. And I would remember that brotherhood that I had with the guys to my left and right. And the guys that were slated to go to so all of the guys that came in with me to go to Iraq had gone to Okinawa. So I actually missed Okinawa deployment because I was still limited duty.
Gotcha.
That was like in 2008.
Yeah.
And then after everybody got back from Okinawa, my group of guys that came in, it was time for them to get out. And there was only like 2 or 3 of us that were going to re-enlist. And I couldn't let these new guys go to Afghanistan without like only like, I think the total of like 5 senior guys or something like that. I mean, that's kind of why I did it. It wasn't, I mean, we all know that the pay and the benefits as active duty really is not that, well, as enlisted is not that good.
Right. But it was all about taking care of your brothers, right? You wanted to go back. They were there, and you had to go there to protect them and be with them, right?
It was for the guys on my left and right. And I mean, at the time, so when I signed my reenlistment contract, they give you an incentive, and one of those incentives were go to the gym for a year, which I didn't find that out until like almost near the end of my signing or reenlisting. And I was like, okay, so I was supposed to go to the gym for a year, but that's when our unit called us back for like after 6 months at working at the gym, they called us back, and I was like, okay, awesome. Went back to the unit to the company, and was told that I was going to get put in charge of a squad, but first I needed to pass mortar leaders course. Best course ever. That was a great course. Loved that. Kicked my ass. Definitely got me in shape. We came back and got my own squad and everything with 3 guys, and we started, doing gun drills, started learning each other and how we act and how we behave or mannerisms,
right.
That stuff. We started forming that brotherhood. Yeah, and that's it. We just kept doing that until, when was that? That was early 2000. January, February, March, April. Yeah, we were supposed to leave in April for Afghanistan for Afghanistan in March of 2010, but that's when that Iceland volcano erupted or something like that.
Right.
Shit got in our way.
Yep.
So our deployment got pushed back to April. So that's when we left in April of 2010, like April 22nd, I believe.
Okay, so did you have the same restrictions in Afghanistan as you had in Iraq as far as, going after the enemy? Were you kind of hemmed in with...
No. It was worse.
Worse,
in Iraq, I mean, in 2007, if you saw a guy digging, no questions asked, shoot him. No questions. I mean, if he was like digging in the middle of the road, there would be no questions. But in Afghanistan, it was, if you saw a guy digging,
you had to go help him.
You had
to go help him dig and put the IED in there.
Yeah, so I mean, might as well like, hey, who are you trying to aim for? Oh, you're trying to aim for my buddy? Okay, we should probably, he's usually in the back, like, he's the last guy. Yeah, there he is, right there. Oh, yeah. No, in Afghanistan, it's like you got to go. Either you look, or either you stay there and you watch, and you make sure that they're like, if they're digging a pipe, that's fine. But then you have to go and talk to them. You have to go see the pipe. You have to go make sure that it's an actual pipe for either a canal or water. I'm having a hard time remembering everything, but yeah, like, if it was for water or something like that, but you have to go talk to them. You can't just shoot them and be done with it.
I got it. And I'm assuming you lost some of your buddies because when they get there, it's not just an irrigation pipe. It's actually an IED. Well,
see, that's the funny thing, though, is we got there, I think, in April 22nd. And I got injured May 24th. So I don't think, if I remember correctly, while I was there, I think we only engaged like in one firefight. But as soon as I freaking get blown up, shit just goes down, like fucking war zone kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I guess I missed out on all the fun.
Well, it was a war zone. They just didn't get started until you got blown up. Is that right?
Apparently, they're like, oh, Coral Peck got injured. Let's start blowing shit up now. Let's come out and play because he left now.
Yeah. All right, so give me some more details on the second time you got hit. So now you're in Afghanistan, and tell us about that, the details of that issue.
So, like I said, I was a squad leader, and I definitely don't mind telling this. I was a squad leader. I had two lance corporals who went to Okinawa, and then they were on the mortar crew. They were my gunner and my A gunner. The gunner's, God, I'm going to have a hard time remembering exactly what the gunner does. The gunner is the guy who puts on, or who lines the sights up and gets the rounds on target. The A gunner is the one who puts the data on the sights and launches the round. And then we have our ammo man. And I'm probably going to get shit if I got this wrong. It's been so long. I've been injured for like 6 years now. And then we have our ammo man. And my ammo man was a brand new bootster, first deployment. And we were slated to do what I call the death march. I can't remember how many kilometers or clicks we walked, but it was like a death march. We started at like 0300 and in the middle of Afghanistan, freaking wearing about 75 pounds of gear, and probably didn't get back to base until at least noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon kind of thing. So the hottest part of the day is already gone. We had at least, I know in my platoon, we had at least, in my section, we had at least 2 heat exhaustions. We had probably a good, maybe 3, whatever the next level is, not heat stroke, but whatever the next level is. But one guy got silver bullet, in other words. So I told my guys, hey, here's the packing list. We're going to take the 240. So we're going to divvy up the ammo because we're not going to have one guy carry the 240 and one guy carry the ammo. That's bullshit. So I was like, we're going to, break it up. So you need to bring your day packs. Apparently Booty McBootsters did not hear that, or apparently what his word is. I forgot to tell him that. No, he said, I thought you meant our main pack.
Right.
So he brought his main pack instead of his day pack, which is, the backpack. He didn't bring his Dora, the backpack thing. So we had to go find somebody who wasn't going on this death march. And, I forget the nomenclature or what it's called, but on the 240, we had a thermosight, and it was in its case, but instead of putting the thermosight inside of the backpack, the day pack, he attached it to the outside using the straps. And of course, this wouldn't be such a bad idea if it was his day pack and if he knew exactly if the straps could handle that.
Right.
Because you know how us military guys are. We know our gear. We know if, straps don't work, zippers don't work, that don't work. We know not to do that.
Yeah.
So during this death march in the middle of the night, he comes up to me and says, Coral Peck, I can't find the thermosight. And I'm like, are you freaking serious? Apparently the strap broke and the thermosight dropped. So I told him, I was like, all right, hey, go tell Sergeant Crummery that you lost the thermosight. First mistake was probably should have done an inspection. I admit that. Second mistake was, instead of saying, all right, Booty McBootster, you go tell Sergeant Crumley, I should have said, all right, let's do a security halt and let's both go back there and tell him. So I relied on him to go back, whatever that honesty policy thingy is. And I relied on him to go back and tell, Sergeant Crumley that he lost sight. Apparently, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he didn't hear me. I don't know if he was already in the process of heat exhaustion. but he didn't do it. So when the security halt came up, I went and told Sergeant Crumry. All right. We made it through the death march. Long story short, we made it through the death march. I got sat down with First Sergeant and our platoon commander, and so did, I'm not going to use his name, Booty McBootster, got sat down too. We were told to separate and divide and write a statement. So we wrote our statements. Well, I got fired from being a squad leader because of my mistakes, which I humbly accept, because it wouldn't put me in this position that I'm in right now. And I definitely want to change where I'm at right now for anything.
So you got fired from that position because he lost the thermosight? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That's what happened. And like I said, squad leader, I fucked up. I do admit that there were mistakes that I could have fixed that would have maybe prevented it, or we could have stopped and found it.
Okay.
Anyway, so I got fired.
Mm-hmm.
And my squad was given to a brand new promoted corporal, great guy. So I went to another sergeant, Sergeant Mendez's squad. And like I said, I've been to Iraq, and he's like, look, or the platoon got together and said, hey, look, we're going to start. At the time, we were a mounted patrol, or a mounted, and we got bored of it. We were telling our staff sergeant, we're like, hey, this is getting boring. We're freaking a taxi service right now. We're driving MREs and water out to First Sergeant and all these other platoons who are in the shit. And here we are back at the FOB drinking or freaking smoking and joking. We had, playing spades like the Mormon do, that kind of shit. Like, this is stupid. Like, can we get out there and get our hands dirty? Eventually they allowed us to do that. So when they allowed us to become dismounted patrols, we got together, our squad got together and said, look, we need 2 guys to volunteer to be the mine sweepers. And I said, I right away, I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I have no problem doing it. I know how to do it. I was, Iraq. Yeah, we were mounted most of the time, but I did have a little experience doing it. So I took it. I was the first guy in the patrol. So on May 24th, 2010, I'd say midday, probably before noon, we had a patrol. We split up. We split our squad into, 2 different, we split up our section into 2 different squads. And we decided to divide and conquer. And we went to this little village, I guess you could call it. And we started going into each little place, doing the whole knock and greet, salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Hey, are there any bad guys? Are you guys receiving any death threats? If so, we're Marines. We like to kill people, apparently. It's what we're told. Yeah. If you guys need any help, we're here to help. If you guys need any rebuilding because freaking bad guys like to blow themselves up and in the process blow your shit up, let us know. We'll figure out a way to help you guys or get you money to help you guys.
So when you're knocking on our doors, are most people receptive? Are they like glad to see you, or are they real standoffish, or what kind of reception did you get for the most part?
The ones that I didn't have like any interaction because we did have, of course, an interpreter, but most of the time I was holding security. But the things I did see is at first they were very standoffish. Of course, they're going to be very, think about it. If you had, you're a Navy guy, right? Navy officer?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So if you had some big Marines coming up, you Navy boys, if you had some big Marines coming up to your front door, pounding on your front door, and here they are holding freaking M4s with 203s, and you can see grenades, and you see that they're like kind of pissed off. And of course, you're going to be like a little guarded at first until they say, hey, we're not here to shoot you or anything. But I think after a conversation was started, they opened up, but at the same time, I don't think they were going to, you got to remember they also, we will only kill you. We also will go after your whole family. So they kind of, I don't think they were really wanting that to happen.
Okay, you broke up there just a little bit. So they were thinking that you were going to go after their whole family if something bad happened, or
No,
the bad guys?
yeah, the bad guys.
Bad guys go after, yeah. Taliban, Al
Yeah.
Qaeda, all
Sorry
those
about that.
dudes. Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So
No,
then what happened? You stepped on an IED somewhere in there, right?
yeah. No, I stepped on like a little pad that released like rainbows and glitter everywhere.
Yeah. So it was a party. Okay, good.
So yeah, I like, okay, I'm done. So last building, we got word if the compound was empty, don't go into it. But it was the last building, last little house, whatever. We decided to go into it. So,
Right.
of course, I'm the minesweeper. And just to give everybody a description, the walls were higher than me, and I was 6 foot tall when, back before had legs.
Mm-hmm.
And the walls were higher than me. Well, some were, of course. And so we couldn't see up to it. And their compounds, and what I mean by their compounds is their houses. Their houses, are divided up. It's not like, our houses where if we want to go from our bedroom to our living room, we walk through a hallway. No, you have to go outside, and each room is, compartment kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
You have to go outside into the courtyard. And then, of course, their whole house usually has a wall around it, and that wall has a gate, but the gate is like a steel door. So I would go up to the door as close as I could get before I absolutely knew that it was the door sending off the metal detector. And I would sweep up to it, walk inside, try to get the metal detector as far away. Well, try to stick the metal detector in first, of course. Make sure everything's clear. I would do a good pad, like basically a 4x4 pad, so guys could come in. Not too many, because you don't want to have like 16 guys standing in a 4x4
Right.
square foot pad.
Yeah.
So I would sweep up to each one of these little living areas: bedroom, living room, dining room, whatever, kitchen. And I would, of course, their doors to each one of these rooms had metal in them, so I could only sweep up so far. And the guys would walk right behind me, or would walk right into my arc, or right behind my arc. Once I got up to the door, said it's all clear, they would walk into the rooms. They would start clearing. And once I cleared up to each one of the little compounds, or each one of the rooms, I would sweep the rest of the compound. And that's where I kind of trailed off from everybody else. This was my job. While everybody else is clearing the compound, while everyone else is clearing these rooms, I'm clearing the rest of the compound.
Right.
So I trailed off on my own. I went to their little storage area, 6 foot tall guy, 205 pounds. Like at that time, I'm pretty sure I was like 4% body fat mass index.
Right.
On his hands and knees, crawling through this 3 foot high storage area with his metal detector out in front of him was not very comfortable. Just so the guys could get into the storage area and pour, I think there were vases in there at the time. So they could pull out these vases and make sure, no HME in there, what is that compound, ammonium nitrate. So the storage area was clear. Came out, I think the next area I went to was their bathroom area. It's not like they had an outhouse. It's basically they had like a little roped off area in their yard that they would shit and piss in.
Right.
And they like to hide stuff in there because they think that, us Americans are too clean and too proper to get our boots and our hands dirty. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have done it. I would have made PFC Smuckatelli do it, but yeah.
Right.
That's what they're
Or some
there
Navy
for.
dude if you could have found one, right?
What's that?
You'd have said, or some Navy dude if you could have found one, right?
Yeah. Going there, I got a little shit in my boots, but whatever. Everything was fine. And so I came back to the middle of the compound, and as I was going to tell Sergeant Mendez, I was going to go say, hey, I'm going to, kind of take a few guys outside and go hold security. Well, I turned around, and apparently all I got out was, hey. And the next thing I know, I'm being flung through the air. And I swear, I laugh at this because I swear my foot, I kicked myself in the head. Like, I swear my foot hit me in the head, and it probably did. Not to be graphic, and I'm sorry for your listeners. I'm not trying to send you into some freaking PTSD trigger or anything, but this shit's about ready to get graphic.
Right.
So this part of the story is from two different aspects. Is from my aspect and from my corpsman and my buddy who could barely tell me. Well, he never told me this. He told my ghostwriter this. So when I got injured, the corpsman, his name's Brian Johnson. They were in the room in a room together, and our corpsman was like, "What the heck was that?" And Johnson immediately knew what it was, so he went outside, and apparently Sergeant Mendez was blown back from the concussion, and he had lost hearing, like completely deaf. So he was screaming out for individual members. He was doing roll call, and he got up to me, and he started screaming my name. He's like, "Peck." Didn't hear anything. I don't know why the deaf dude was doing freaking roll call. If you can't hear yes or no, why the hell are you doing roll call?
Right.
But he was good sergeant. So he was doing roll call. Didn't hear anything. That's when everybody else started screaming for my name. And Brian screamed "Peck" as loud as he could. And the next thing you hear is, and that's when they see the crater. The dust has already settled. They saw the crater, and there was my body. Hold on. Yeah, sorry. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. There was my body. Brian Johnson, our corpsman, came up, and this part of is my memory. All I was doing was saying, "Don't let me die here. I don't want to fucking die in this hellhole. Like, I can't die here." And
so you took that huge blast, and it didn't knock you unconscious?
No, I was in and out of consciousness. Okay. From my aspect, I was in and out of consciousness. Like, I thought in my head I was dying. In my head, I thought I was saying, "I don't want to die here," but apparently I was saying this shit out loud.
Right.
So another side of the story was my lieutenant's side, and he came up, and I guess to add some humor into it, I was like, "Sir," he's like, "Yes, Corporal Peck." I was like, "Sir, how's my dick? Is it still there, sir?" He's like, "Yes." Oh, he's like, "Hold on, let me check." "Yes, yes, Corporal Peck, your dick's still there."
What a good officer. There you go. Hey, at least I know you got your priorities. Even in you get blown up in Afghanistan, a man has to have his priorities, and we appreciate that.
Yeah. So guys were walking. Well, as guys were going out to hold security and cordon off and calling the Casevac, they were throwing tourniquets at me. Immediately, I was a triple amputee. My right leg was immediately amputated right above the knee. My right arm was immediately amputated right above the elbow, and my left leg was immediately amputated right above the knee. But the problem with my left leg is there wasn't really any meat to attach a tourniquet to.
Right.
So, and an IV to. So apparently what my corpsman had to do, which is, it's called a intravenous IV, which is where they put it in through the bone marrow, which any corpsman listening to this right now, if they ever have to use that type of IV, shit has hit the fan.
Right.
Which we all know IVs go into your vein, but the minute they have to put it into your bone marrow, you're not looking good.
You got no veins left, right? You had no veins left, yeah. So that's the best they could do. Okay.
So he put that into my left leg. My left arm, I had what's called a degloving incident, where the skin from the mid forearm was immediately pulled, and it was literally all you could see the tendons from my mid forearm down. You could see everything, the muscles, the tendons, everything else, the veins, the skin was hanging on by mere threads.
Right.
So they got me on they called in the Casvac, and of course I'm still sitting there saying, I don't want to fucking die in this hellhole. Don't let me die here. And apparently it took 4 guys to carry me to the helicopter. But for some reason, I don't know why, I don't think we had a stretcher with us. So they had one man underneath each limb, which they ended up dropping me. I mean, like I said, I wasn't a small guy, even without legs and arms immediately, but I wasn't an easy guy to just pick up and carry, like, I don't know, like a pillow or some shit. Something that's easy to carry. Insert something that's easy to carry here.
I can't believe you didn't bleed out. I mean, if you had, all your arms and legs blown off, I can't believe you didn't bleed out at that point.
That's what the corpsman said too. He's like, I can't, like, for the immediate loss of 3 limbs, like, why wasn't there? He said there wasn't that much blood. So it took 4 guys to carry me to the helicopter. And this whole time, the whole time that they were working on me, I couldn't see anything. All I could see, there was sand and everything. Soot was in my eyes. All I saw were dark shapes. That's it. I passed out a few times. I came back to. I could feel the rotor wash on me. I could feel like something was hitting me. It was, debris from the rotor wash. And then the next thing I know, it kind of goes dark, and I can see a single shape above me. And I swear, he said, I'm going to give you some meds, and you're going to go to sleep for a little bit. And I try to look back, and I tell my guys, I'll see you in a few days. And next thing I know, I'm dead to the world. I'm air vac'd immediately to Bagram again, Iraq. Oh joy, I'm back in Iraq. Bagram again. From there, they send me on a C-130. And apparently during this flight, the left arm, they did a arteriograph, and it became unstable, and I started bleeding out. And they had to do emergency landing either in the Netherlands. I think they had to do emergency landing in the Netherlands and in Canada. Finally, they got me to Bethesda, Maryland, where I started to, where the doctor started working on me. I was medically sedated for 2 to 2.5 months. And during this 2 to 2.5 months, I believe I was flatlined once. I'm sorry, not I believe. I was told that I flatlined once or twice, and was actually legally pronounced dead once. I believe I was pronounced dead in the Netherlands is where I was told, I think. And during this, during my wonderful medical sedation, the only thing I ever remember is 2 days before I left for Afghanistan, I saw my uncle. My uncle was a United States Marine too. He was a corporal, and he was basically my father figure. I never knew my father.
Okay.
And during this, I saw my uncle. He had this stupid grin, and he had this beard like I do now. And he had this stupid grin, and he was like, what happened? And he's like, you're hurting, right? And I was like, yeah, I know. And he's like, it's not your time yet. You got to go back there and give him hell. And that's all I remember. And that's it. And so I think that had to happen during the time that I was, there was some fucked up shit. But anyway, I got to Bethesda, and
you kind of broke up there. Say that again. Your uncle said you got to go back there and you give him hell. It's not your time yet. And then what happened after that?
I finally got back to Bethesda.
Okay.
All right, finally got to Bethesda, and the doctors started getting me stable. Of course, this is all stuff I've been told by doctors, by At the time I was married, and mom, of course, she was there. I started becoming stable, but then something happened. They started seeing some weird stuff in my blood, and they started realizing that my body was eating itself. I had contracted what is called aspergillus. It is a flesh-eating fungus, and it started eating away at my body. So my left leg was amputated just above the knee. It ate my whole left leg all the way up to my hip. So I'm a hip disarticulation on the left side, which means for me, I sit on pure bone on my left side all the time, which is so great.
Yeah, that'd be a little painful, I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why, when people ask me, they're like, well, how come, there's how come Todd Nicey, he's a quad, how come he walks around in his prosthetic legs all the time, but you don't? And it's kind of like, well, I understand that, there's multiple quads, but I'm a hip disarticulation. Like there's not many there's actually, I'm not sure how many quad hip disarticulations are out there, but from the Iraq-Afghan war, there's only one. That would be me. And
right.
A single amputation is hard enough. You add 4 amputation, okay. And then you add a hip disarticulation, But so my body started eating itself because of this aspergillus or this fungus that was in my body. Come to find out, I had it in my blood and in my abdominal. So this fungus ate my whole left leg. It ate the first layer of my abdominal muscle, and it also dissolved my bicep in my left arm.
Now, is this something you picked up from Afghanistan, or is this something you got when you got to Bethesda?
It was something the sand got into my bloodstream,
okay.
And the sand carried the dormant fungus.
Wow. Okay.
And it just started eating me. Like the doctors just started throwing antibiotics at me. They're like, we don't know what to do. Like we've never had this. We don't know what to do. And come to find out, I think it's me and another, there's Sergeant Major Mackey. He's a double amputee. Like, I think we've been, well, at that time when I got injured, we were the only ones to survive it with it in our blood. And then I had it in my abdominal too. And they're like, we don't know what to give him. Like, we're throwing antibiotics to him, hoping that his body will take them and use them, but it's just dissolving his body. And the doctors had to take me in for daily cleanouts, washouts, which is where they reopen your wound and spray out any disease or any diseased flesh or dead flesh or not bacteria, but particulates or anything like that shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
And that's what they were doing to me for 2.5 months, praying. And at one point, doctors came up to my family and said, we're done. Like, we can't do anything. He's on borrowed time. Like, you may want to say your goodbyes now. You may want to call any other family members that aren't here. You may want to tell them that they need to say their goodbyes, because he's living on minutes, not years, not decades, not centuries. I mean, you people couldn't mess with me, or people deal with me for centuries, but yeah, none of that. He's got minutes to live. And family started, of course, saying their goodbyes and everything like that. But, well, as you can tell, I'm not dead.
Right. Now you said you had a girlfriend. So was your wife still with you at this time?
Yeah, my wife was with me recently, because, like I mentioned, I've been trying to get a book written and going through ghostwriter after ghostwriter, and one of my recent ghostwriters, she asked me if I could contact my ex-wife and, if we could possibly put her in the book. At first I was like, that's probably not a good idea. I don't think she's going to do that, yada, yada, yada. And so, yeah, we talked and everything, and she, decided that she was going to do it. And what happened was, what happened was, my wife and I, there was times where I was told what I was told was, when I started fighting back this fungus and actually starting to come back to life, I was told that my wife told the doctors to pull the plug on his life support. And what I was told was because she wanted the $450,000 that she would have gotten for that.
I see.
And this is all stuff that I've been told, it's all hearsay. But I was also told that while I was literally, not figuratively, but literally dying next to her, like feet away from her, she was sexting her new boyfriend that she had met while I was deployed. She would wear skimpy, like we're talking cleavage popping out, shit that you would wear to like a Las Vegas party kind of thing. Gotcha. Or New York party kind of thing.
Okay, so
she would wear that.
So it was probably good riddance to her. So they didn't pull the plug on you. She didn't get the money, and she moved right along. But now you have a new girlfriend now.
Yes, girlfriend.
Awesome. So how did you meet her? Was that a dating website? Was that?
Yeah, no, it was. It was. We were on, and I make fun of. Well, I don't make fun of her of it anymore. At first, I did. So we were both members on Match, and she's 29, and she's like visited like 30 countries, more than probably all of us on this show put together, kind of thing. And she's got one master's and 3 bachelors. And what she told me was like, people will read her profile and they think immediately that she's fake, because how could a woman only 29 years old already have this stuff? Like, that's kind of unheard of right now in today's society. And so she found my profile Match, and my profile Match, I know it wasn't like most appeasing, but like in my about me section, I basically said, I'm a quad amputee. Like, I'm loyal, I'm loving, I'm looking for her to settle down, start a family, yada, 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 all that sweet stuff. And at the end of it, it was kind of like, look, I'm a Marine. All right, I was a Marine for 7 years. I've been blown up twice. The last injury resulted in me being a quad amputee, which means I lost my arms and legs, but at least I'm a blast to be around. Dun-dun-dun. And I was like, look, if you've got a problem with me, or if you think that I'm here looking for a sugar mama, trust me, I probably make more. Like, look, I'm not here trying to look for a sugar mama. I'm not here looking for, somebody to take care of me. I can wipe my own butt. Thank you. And
that's right. That's a nice skill to have at this point in time.
Like, I was like, look, I was like, if you've got a problem with me being a quad amputee, that's fine, but please write me a letter letting me know that your feelings, and I'll take a picture of it while I piss on it, and then set it on. While I light it on fire, and then I piss on the ashes, and then I'll send it back to you.
So this is a romantic side of you coming out, I can tell.
Oh yeah, but there was a lot of sweet stuff in there. It was like very like, I'm not here playing games. I'm not trying to add to my numbers. I'm not looking here to conquer all ethnic groups.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for more notches in my belt or anything like that. I was like, I'm actually looking for something, the real deal.
Yeah, something stable.
So,
yeah, you're a gentleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Apparently what she did, though, is she right-clicked on my picture, did a Google search, and my Match profile and my Facebook profile picture were exactly the same. So it came up with John Michael Peck. Oh, God, I just told my full name. Now I'm going to have stalkers finding me on Facebook. Shit. So she did that, and it came up with Facebook. And if you put her message on paper, it would be, I think, a good maybe 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs. Mm-hmm. And at first, like, I was like, who the hell is this person? And it was very like sweet and endearing. Like, it was like, if you would have read it, it's like very nice and everything. And at first I didn't respond. I actually did not. I looked at it and I didn't respond, because I thought immediately, like, this is shit's fake. Like, why? Like, if this is true, why didn't you message me on Match then, kind of thing. And In her first initial message, she said,
so John, you said that you were on meet.com. They didn't have they don't have a website like meetaquadamputee.com or anything like that.
No, apparently, no, they do. They do have websites for stuff like that, though. They really do. They have dating websites for like amputees.
Oh, and I meant match.com, not meet.com, but match.com. But the point out of that was they don't have a quadamputee.com for women who.
No, but they do. They do have amputee dating websites.
They do. Really, they do.
Yes, they really do. There is an actual fetish for people who are attracted only to amputees. It is like a legitimate thing.
Did I understand you say fetish? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Fetish.
All right. So you're a gigolo. You're a gigolo. You're making money on the side. Okay. That's what a good Marine does. All right.
No, don't tell her this. Don't tell. Oh man, my girlfriend's gonna hear this. She'll be like, "What the fuck?"
Well, you've already got stalkers coming after you,
No,
so it won't matter if we know the whole story of you.
So yeah, the first message she wrote me, it was very long and endearing and sweet. I mean, it wasn't like ridiculous. It wasn't like a damn book. I wasn't reading like a novel or anything, but it was like longer than most normal first messages. I just looked at it, I read it, and I didn't say anything for like 2 days. And then after that, I kind of kept thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I should probably respond. Like, it was kind of unlike me not to respond. Like I said, she wrote like a 2-paragraph. And my first message to her was, "Hey, stalker." That was it. That's all I said. Just "Hey, stalker." Like, that's what came to my brain. That was it.
Okay.
And yeah. And then after thinking about that for like a few hours, I decided she didn't respond to me. So I was kind of like, maybe I should write a little bit more than just "Hey, stalker." So I wrote her like an actual message kind of thing.
Right.
And we just started talking and went on a few dates. And now, well, going on this month, it'll be 5 months actually. So yeah, we just met this year.
Okay. Got it. So, so what'd you do on your first date? Where'd you go?
So our first date, so like I said, she traveled to 30 countries and she's all about Paris. She loves Paris. And
not the safest place to go these days.
Huh?
Not the safest place to go these days, Paris. But she's all about Paris, so she wants to go there.
Yeah. So my little small hodunk town, Fredericksburg, I found an actual like Paris, like an authentic Paris restaurant. So I took her there for our first date kind of thing. And we kicked it off.
Okay, nice. All right, you're romantic. So you don't have to take her picture and burn it and piss on the ashes. So you're moving in the right direction now. That's good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So she actually, of course, we had all of our conversations and stuff like that leading up to the date. And of course, like I told her some of my stories about some of the shit that I've done being injured. And one of the things is my mom had a bucket list.
So how long have you been dating this girl now?
5 months.
5 months. Okay, good. 5 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So I told her about this story because my mom, she had this bucket list, and on this bucket list, she loves dolphins, and she always wanted to go on a cruise. So I decided to do both. So I took her on a cruise. After being injured, of course, we went on a Carnival cruise to the Bahamas. And so I got the cruise off her bucket list. And then there was a dolphin exhibit where you could actually get in the water and either swim with the dolphins or just play with the dolphins. So we got off the big cruise ship, and then we got onto this like little pontoon boat, basically, that 20 people were on.
Okay, so the picture picture on your website of viewing the dolphins, is that your girlfriend in the picture?
No, that's my mom.
That's your mom. Oh, okay. That's your mom in the picture, not your girlfriend. Okay.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend's not in there anywhere in the picture?
No, I haven't updated the website in a while. I've been kind of slacking on it. I know I need to add more pictures on there somewhere, kind of thing. Yep, I've been slacking on it.
Okay. So you got the check in the block with a dolphin. Then what happened next?
So we get on this boat to go see the dolphin exhibit. And there's this, I would say he's probably 5 years old. kid sitting across from me. And of course I'm in in a manual chair, just kind of sitting there enjoying the boat ride. And this kid's looking at me. I can see him out of the corner of my eye. I don't mind little kids looking at me. I don't mind, as long as you're not a teenager, like sitting there staring at me. If you're above a teenager, you probably shouldn't be staring at me.
Right.
So this little kid, he's about 5 years old, probably somewhere around there. He's looking at me, staring at me. I don't care. He's a little kid. He's inquisitive. Of course, he doesn't have a filter. I don't have a filter. And I can hear him. He's like, "Mommy, Daddy, look at that guy. What happened? What happened to his arms and legs?" And his mom and dad's like, "We don't know. Johnny Jr., we don't know what happened to him." And Mommy and Daddy's like, "Well, why don't you go and politely ask him?" And I'm like, "Oh, God." And this kid comes up to me and he's very polite. He's like, "Excuse me, sir." Like, "Yes." He's like, "What happened to your arms and legs?" And instead of saying, my normal responses to kids were, "I got blown up in the war. I lost my arms and legs, protecting you. I didn't eat my vegetables. I didn't listen to my mom and dad, and they chopped them off." No. The first stupid thing that came to my head was, "Oh, on our way to a dolphin exhibit, by the way, just I want to refresh your memory. On the way to a dolphin exhibit, a dolphin ate my arms and legs." And as soon as I said that, I smacked myself in the head. I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Needless to say, as soon as we got to the dolphin exhibit and the kid got put in the water, as soon as he saw the dolphin, he started bawling and crying and screaming and, "No, I don't want the dolphin to see my arms." And I just look at the mom and dad. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I don't.
You told that kid to join the Marine Corps, didn't you?
I probably gave that kid like PTSD or some shit. He probably got a trigger now.
He's got a head start. He's got a head start on it now. He doesn't even have to join the Marines. He got a head start. Hey, I got to ask you a question here, John. I'm looking at this picture of you. It's in the hospital, and you got 4 cheerleaders. Yeah. You got 4 cheerleaders around you, and I just got to ask you one question. Did you grab their ass?
No. Dude, I don't have hands.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess I overlooked that, but I'm just thinking, how could they walk away and say, "Hey, I think that guy just grabbed you"? Well, maybe not. I don't think there was any sexual harassment in that particular instance.
No, but I always have wondered, like, what would happen if I see a girl I can't do this now because, girlfriend, and of course she's going to hear this. This is in the past, Jess, by the way, the past thinking. What would happen if I saw a girl kind of like bending over, kind of like bent over just a little bit, and I just see them like maybe in the mall or something, and I just, while in my wheelchair going like 8 miles an hour, just kind of like smack their butt while just with my arm just going 8 miles an hour, and they look at me and be like, "What? I didn't do shit. Like, why are you looking at me?" Like, come on.
I like that. I like you. You got a way out. I like that. Hey, so how today? How about coping with your PTSD? Is that a daily struggle for you, or are you handling it well, or is part of your? You said you're a motivational speaker. How does that work out for you?
I actually don't have it. My brain just has a weird way of handling things. It's very. I'm more of an I can be. It's hard to explain. Like I'm a realist, but I'm very optimistic at the same time. I always see the good in people, and I always see. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like I don't let this shit bother me because, yeah, this shit sucks. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I'm waiting for an arm transplant. Hopefully, I can fulfill my dream of becoming a chef, going to and then going to the Culinary Institute of America in Poughkeepsie, New York. And then going and competing on the next food or the food, what is it? The Food Network Next Star or Next Food Network Star. And then winning that and be like, "Congratulations, Sergeant Peck. You are the next Food Network star," and having Giada and
Master Chef.
Bobby.
You want to be on Master Chef. Like Master Sergeant, you could be Master Chef.
Exactly. And then also I went and met the girlfriend, and I see. This shit, like I said, this shit sucks. But look, I got arm transplant going for me, so hopefully I will complete my dream of becoming a chef, possibly opening a restaurant. Maybe I'll call it Johnny Be Quick or, fucking Wheels or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll call it Nubs or something. I don't know. Some stupid name. I mean, my license plate on my van is Nubby, Nubie, like Nubby. Yeah, that I wanted Nubster, but they wouldn't let me put that on there, and I was like, "You guys are ruining it."
Well, look, if you get a speeding ticket, you can't sign the ticket, so you got an out there as well, don't you?
Nope.
When the cop shows up and you're like, "Hey, sign your ticket." It's like, "Hey, man, I don't have any arms." Look, how you driving that car? It's like, they didn't get all my appendages. You know what I'm saying?
That's just weird. So arm transplants going, so it's like everything's going good for right now, I would say. So, but yeah, I definitely don't have the PTSD going on. I don't know. It's just my way of handling things, I guess.
Okay, the arm transplant. How long is that going to take you? How many? Is that like a year or 2 years, or you're like the first person they're doing that, or make us smart on that?
No. So, the very first quad from the Iraq-Afghan wars, Brendan Morocco, I don't even think he was the first to get it, because the first double upper extremity transplant. Like, I've read reports saying he was the first, but I don't remember him being I definitely won't be the first to get that done. And I've been waiting. In August, it will be 2 years that I've been waiting for a donor.
It's actually somebody else's arm. I mean, this is not like,
yeah.
No kidding.
This is not like grown in a lab off of a freaking rat back or anything kind of shit. This is like, let's say, you on your way home to go see Susie Q, your wife, you see some hot chick running around in yoga pants, and all of a sudden she bends over and you get into an car accident because you're goosenecking or rubbernecking. Yeah. And they say, "Oh shit, his arms are still good. Oh, he doesn't have tattoos of a I love semen on his arm or anything like that." And they say, "Oh, he matches exactly what John Peck needs." Oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. There's more medical shit in there, of course. Right. They test your blood to make sure that you don't have any nasty STDs, or, right. They test your blood to make sure that you don't have any weird antibodies or cancer or anything like that. They match bone size. They try to match skin colors close to as possible. Other things.
So you're just waiting for a donor. Is that it? You're just waiting. That's the next step.
That's it. I mean, I've been waiting for 2 years on the arm transplant.
Okay, listen. You make sure that when they put your arm on, don't let them mess with you. Like take the other person's right arm and put it on your left side or something kooky like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God! Could you imagine? Like, there would be I'm pretty sure there would be a malpractice lawsuit happening.
Yeah, but think of it this way: you could get a job in any circus that's out there with that kind of tomfoolery going on. I'm thinking you could be a multimillionaire on that.
Are you serious? I could be like the owner of a hospital with the malpractice. Like, you guys put somebody's left arm on my right arm. Like, what? Yep, lawsuit. Screw this shit. I'll keep it, but lawsuit. Like, no, that would be just ridiculous.
Hey man, I'm just messing with you. I'm sitting here looking at your pictures. You apparently have reptile therapy also. You got an alligator, you got a snake on you. Is that one? Is that what you do for fun? Reptiles?
No, see, that's one of the things. Like, I mean, I'm not like snake crazy or anything. That was one of the trips that we did to Florida. And in Florida, we got to go scuba diving, and while we weren't practicing in the pool, we got to go to their like alligator farm, like the Florida wetlands alligator farm in Key West. And snakes are cool. I mean, as long as they're not like trying to constrict my neck or anything. And that's one thing with the arm transplant. They're like, yeah, you can't be around like reptiles or anything because they carry like weird, like diseases in their flesh kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Or not flesh, but scales.
Well, John, I want to let you know I really appreciate you being with us today, and I just want to wrap up and ask you a couple questions, and I want to talk about the John Peck Fund because I'm looking at your website. So tell us a little bit about that, the John Peck Fund, and how they can contact you if they want to, and help you out if they want to. Or here's your chance, man. Tell us what you want the listeners to know.
So, like the fund, the John Peck Fund was set up because when going through the arm transplant, I have to travel up to Boston. So how this works is I go up to Boston once I get this magic call, and I'm up in Boston for 3 to 6 months after the surgery. It's all depending upon my body, how fast I recover. 3 to 6 months, which means a hotel bill. Let's see. A regular standard hotel room is $2,000 a week up in Boston, which, yeah, it's just standard. Two queen size beds. And then there will be times where I'll need to get a minivan. So like basically let's think whenever you travel, all the expenses that you have to pay for, I have to pay for. And I've gotten questions like, oh, why isn't the government paying for this? Why isn't the VA paying for this? Quite simply put, the FDA has deemed the arm transplant still considered experimental. Therefore, TRICARE will not pay for it. Government will not pay for it. VA will not pay for it. So I'm left paying for $2,000 hotel bill a week, $2,000 rental van, $50 per day per person per diem for food, boarding for my dogs because I can't bring my dog. Like I don't even want to bring my service dog up there because I won't be able to control him as best I should be able to.
So this is how our listeners can give you a hand. Is that right? Did I get that right? If they can't give you an arm, they give you a hand.
Yeah, I mean, come on, give me a hand. I don't got a hand. Give me a hand.
Yeah. So that's a johnpeckfund.org, johnpeckfund.org, and you can go on there. There's a donate site, MasterCard, Visa, American Express. There's also a GoFundMe site on there, GoFundMe donate tab on there as well. Plus, you got Facebook, Twitter, and about 3 other ways on there to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I want me to come to an event, and trust me, I'm not some freaking not gonna charge people a ridiculous. Like I've seen some wounded guys charge ridiculous amounts to have them come to your events or anything like that. I mean, dude, if you want me to come to an event, a small donation, flight and hotel bill would just be appreciated. Not some keynote speaker that charges $10,000. No, screw that.
Hey man, if you get the money, I think you should do it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've got this other program I've been thinking about, maybe linking up vets with community outreach, kind of doing like a mentorship program kind of thing, giving vets something to do and then reaching out to the community. And remember when we were growing up, big brother, big sister kind of thing?
Right, correct.
Yeah, something like that kind of thing. Kind of been mulling that over in my head.
I got it. And you got a ghostwriter, right? You're writing a book right now also?
No, not right at this moment. The 2 ghostwriters that I was working with, there's a complication. There's a issue with me and one of the ghostwriters, and they were a team, so kind of had to separate from them because there was an argument that we had about which way is the best way on how to go about publishing kind of thing. It's kind of a long story.
Gotcha. All right. Well, listen, John, what we're going to do is, for our listeners out there, they can go on the johnpeckfund.org. That's the johnpeckfund.org, and you can help John there. You can donate and help him. Also, if you go to the Ryman Show, that's the rymanshow.com. You will also have a link on there to enter your fund as well, and that'll help you. How's that sound?
Sounds great, man. I appreciate everything. And then if you do a PayPal donation, by the way, this is something I've done since day one, and I've been doing this for 2.5 years now. If you do a PayPal donation, I'll get a notification from PayPal saying that you made a donation. I've wrote almost every single person an email. I can't write you a handwritten letter because, well, I don't have hands. Not to pull at the heartstrings again, but I don't have hands to write that handwritten letter. But I will write you an email saying thank you, and it will be me writing it. There are no PR. There's no manager. It's just me and my trustee. That's it.
Got it. Well, John, we appreciate you being on the show. We wish you well, and we hope this helps you out. And please go to the John Peck Fund or the RymanShow.com, where we'll have a link for John there. John, we appreciate your time today. God bless you for being with you. And this is the Ryman Show, the voice of the veteran. Download us on iTunes and Google Play. And while you're there, be sure to rate us. Thanks for listening. For any questions or comments, visit us on our website, therymanshow.com. We'd love to hear from you.